What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the overall market moving forward, as we just got initial jobless claims and a pretty positive reaction so far. But I do have a warning about the markets for everyone, as every time the market did pump after open, we did end up getting a dump for the last couple of days, and there is a risk of that happening again. So I'm going to break down more information about this, talk about some news about the markets. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, Tesla's attempting to rebound for now, but just note that if you look at the last couple of days, okay, Tesla rebounded right over here on Monday. We got this nice little rebound, and then by the time we opened on Tuesday, we dumped. Okay, and then for Tuesday we pushed, only to dump on at the very end of the day. Wednesday we pushed up again, and then we ended up dumping. And then today we're trying to push up again. So the question is, will the move last, or are we about to get a rug pull? You want to be very careful with the market. There's a lot of trickery that's going on. Now, from a technical standpoint, we looked very bearish, especially yesterday. We did actually dump more. We went all the way down to the 180s, the high 180s, which is the level we did call out. But what I was thinking was we would kind of rebound a bit and then start dipping even lower. So I did see a risk of more downside. For now, what's happening is they are manipulating the markets. They basically dump things really hard the day before, pump it in the morning, and then we might see the same thing happen again with the potential dump later on. Now, we're not dumping yet. They might continue to push things a little higher, but then later on, there's still that risk. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that. Now, the data that came out was very interesting. Initial jobless claims was actually well below expectations, and continuing jobless claims was it was aligned with expectations. So what's happening was the July data came out. Remember when the July data came out, it wasn't as great, and now the jobless claims data is coming out for the first week of August. And the data is showing some improvements, and the market is getting a very positive response thus far. But that does not necessarily mean the market's going to last forever. It's not going to push forever. We might just see this be a very temporary move. At 11:30 a.m., we have the 4-week and 8-week bill auctions. Then we have Barkin from the Fed giving a speech. So we have a lot more data coming out. So I'll be watching to see how things end up moving. For more data that's coming out, the market has been dipping just a bit. Now it's trying to rebound, and we'll see if this lasts or not. There's some news coming out that Warner Bros. Has missed its analyst estimates, once again posting its quarterly reports with a loss of about 36 cents per share and revenue at $9.7 billion. Overall, their expectations weren't as great. And then besides that, there's not really a whole lot else that's going on. We're seeing a lot of news that's coming out from JP Morgan Chase. They're basically anticipating that there's now a 35 to 40% chance the US enters a recession, and they're saying that there is a diminishing odds, of a soft landing. So that's something that's worth noting. And on top of this, there's only about a 61.5% chance the Fed now gives us a 50 basis point cut. For earnings, don't forget we have like Plug and a few others. Plug did not do too well. That's why we saw the share price dip a bit. Revenue was below expectations. Not to mention their EPS was below expectations. And then the guidance was not too good. So we ended up seeing the share price dip. As far as Tesla goes, Sunrun partners with Tesla for a virtual power plant in Texas. This is some good news that's coming out. They're known for being an important solar powered company, and they're going to be expanding their support for the energy grid in Texas with a partnership with Tesla. So it's some good news so far. uh, you know, with all the politics going on with Musk, there's still a lot of companies that want to partner with Tesla and do well. The media doesn't really give Tesla, even Elon Musk, a lot of credit for things like this, but they do love to scream about other things. We're starting to see a lot of talk in Europe how the EV business is kind of like struggling, and Musk is getting a lot of criticism because some European companies are even trying to ban Tesla. I'm seeing some news about that, right? It's the truth, but it is what it is. It's not necessarily the end of the world. I've said this before. There's going to be companies that try to avoid Tesla, that don't want to form partnerships with them because of Musk's politics, but Tesla's going to be fine for the long term, right? I'm still seeing a lot of headlines about this. It's still making all the news. So I just wanted to call that out. So what's happening with Tesla right now? I just wanted to mention that we have this resistance very close to about this 195 area. If we break that, we could be going up to 198, and then we have 200 coming next. Those are going to be your resistance levels. If we reject, watch 192 as support. If that fails, let's watch 188 followed by 185. In my opinion, Tesla could attempt to push a little more, it's possible, but this 195 area is already acting as resistance. And if we establish a lower high compared to this high of 204, it's possible Tesla pushes a bit, then rejects and starts tipping down lower. Once again, guys, we pumped and rejected, pumped and rejected, pumped and rejected, pumped and rejected many, many times for Tesla stock. And the overall trend, when you zoom out, it's still technically bearish, just making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, potentially even lower lows. We'll see if we end up breaking our low, but I think what's going to happen is we're going to look for an attempt to rebound in the morning. So when the market opens, Tesla's going to push, market's going to push a little bit, and then we're going to be watching to see where we end up topping at, because we could still get that rug pull later on. I wouldn't fully trust this move, especially after how we've been moving so far. That's my personal opinion. So that's the most likely possibility. Watch the levels I called out. Tesla could push to 195. If it goes a little higher, we could get closer to 198, but then we might get rejected towards the end of the day. So be careful with that. SPY is attempting to rebound. Watch resistance at this 523 zone. This is our 50 EMA. If that breaks, I'd be watching 525, then 528. I think it's possibly pushed a little higher to closer to 523, if not 525. But then, like I said before, there's still a risk of rejection. Why do I say that? Look what happened Monday. We pumped and dumped. Tuesday, we pumped and dumped. Wednesday, we pumped and dumped. Today, we're pumping. What's going to happen? We're going to likely get a dump later. That's very probable. Would watch for confirmation. So look for a little push. It may last for another hour, a couple of hours. That's going to be fine. If spot goes up to 525 or even higher, but I don't fully trust this. Remember, even yesterday we got this big rug pull. Might happen again. So a pump and dump like move is very possible. Watch resistance. We could push a little bit more. Then we'll see what kind of reaction we get. For Nvidia, it's the same thing essentially. We could pump a little bit more towards 102, but if we get a rejection, we're going to continue to dip, and we still have this imbalance to fill down here towards 93. So we have a double top leg structure. Look for a little rebound, might push for 102, if not 104, then possibly reject back down towards 100. And if that fails, what 98 is coming. So look for a little pump and dump. That's the most likely possibility. Bitcoin's also attempting to rebound. We could be approaching 58,000 as resistance, if not 59,000. Then we'll be watching to see if we get a rejection, could push and then reject. So watch for that very carefully. For the QQQ, we could rebound as well. Going to be looking for a test of 440. If that breaks, we could go a little higher towards 442, if not 444. But like I said before, we pumped and dumped on Monday, pumped and dumped on Tuesday, pumped and dumped on Wednesday. Might pump and then dump again. That's the trend that's been on the QQQ. Apple, Apple's doing the same thing. We could be pushing for 212. If we do break this, we could get closer to 215. This could actually help the market turn more bullish. But watch 212 as resistance. I think we're going to be pushing a little higher. Uh, and then we'll have to watch and see if we get a rejection again. Apple pumped and rejected, pumped and rejected, pumped and rejected. So it might pump a little bit towards 214, then 216, and then maybe reject back down. It's still trading sideways. I think the IWM Russell 2000 is going to try to bounce here. Look at 205 as resistance. If this breaks, we could go up to about 208, and we'll see if we get a rejection or not, because the last couple of days has been a little bit lackluster. So look for a little bit of a push and see if you reject, but just be careful with that. For Coinbase, it's attempting to rebound, but be careful, guys, because we have this big gap below to fill. It is possible we push. If we break past 185, I could be looking for a push for about 190, but then watch and see if we get a rejection off our 50 EMA. If we break 190, we turn bullish. If we reject off 190, we could be coming back down to fill the gap. Notice that Coinbase pumped and dumped 3 days in a row. So it might pump and then dump back down as we have this gap to fill below. For Amazon, we're attempting to rebound. Watch 165 as resistance. If we fail to hold that, I think we could push a little bit more towards 166. But if we reject, we could be dipping back down. We also have this gap below to fill. So watch and see if we hold 165. I think we're going to push a little bit upon open, then we'll see if we reject. Same thing with Meta. Might attempt to push up towards 500, if not 510. It's still looking like it's forming kind of like a cup and handle, so it looks a little bit more bullish. We could be looking for a push for 500, if not 510, if that breaks, but then it might reject again, because the last couple of days it pumped and dumped, might pump and dump again. Microsoft is the same thing. Might try to push a little bit towards 408, and we'll see if you reject or not. I think we could push a little bit on Microsoft and potentially reject at resistance. So watch 404, then potentially 408, and see if we get a rejection. And Google might try to push up for about 164. Looks a little bit more bullish just to start us off, but then there might be that rejection like that I'm still talking about. So I don't fully trust this move in the markets, especially after how we performed for the last few days. We dumped really hard yesterday only to start pumping again. So there's a lot of manipulation in the markets. But like I said before, look at the last few days. They suggest that this rally might not last. So be careful, watch resistance, and do what you have to do, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for listening, and peace out.